There are more life transitionings happening for me than the average college grad. Hi guys, it's me, Alison. As always, I like to start with what I accomplished the summer leading up to the school year and the school year itself. This year, I bought a new car, was more social again, had a presentation for my CVS internship that went amazing. They absolutely loved it. Got a Boys and Girls Club offer, got an offer from Catalyst Kids, was able to have my own classroom and first and second grade for Boys and Girls Club, booked my own flights and flew alone to Vegas, got out of my comfort zone in Vegas, passed CSET number 2 on my first try, passed CSET number 3 on my first try, and passed CSET number 1 on my first try. 3 for 3. I went to a career fair. I saw Joji in concert. I saw Doja Cat in concert. I celebrated my 1-year anniversary with my boyfriend. I hosted some game nights, which were super fun. I was offered a position as a noon duty. I got the vegan solo for my a cappella group's ICCA competition. I got into UCI's MAT program, which is Master of Arts in Teaching and Credential. I won a claw machine plush for the first time ever. I tried 9 round. I started walking 70K steps a week. I threw my 22nd birthday party. I was known by my students' parents because they talk about me so much. And one parent specifically told me how much her kids love me. I was magna cum laude for both of my majors. I became a member of the Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society, and I was invited to the Beta Gamma Sigma Honor Society for Business. I saw Madison Beer in concert. So moving on to my biggest tips and takeaways for the year. So this year very much had such a shift for me in terms of self-identity, friendships, outlooks, etc. I think I could definitely feel my frontal lobe developing, my thought processes were changing and stuff like that, how I dealt with my emotions. I definitely feel like I have matured. I do feel like a 22-year-old, someone that's about to graduate college and enter adulthood. There are some major life transitions happening for me. I'm gonna stop taking singing lessons since I will be so busy with my master's program. And if you guys don't know, I've taken singing lessons since I was 8 years old with the same teacher. I have been seeing her and singing every week for 14 years. I'm also no longer gonna be an a cappella, so that's gonna be interesting because a majority of my friends are my a cappella group. I'm quitting my job at the end of June because again, I'm not gonna have time for it with my master's program. And a major one is my childhood home is going away, which is really tough. I've already struggled with a lot of stuff related to home and feeling like I have a home, but now it's an even bigger shift. So now I do have to fully be an adult. And another miscellaneous takeaway is I am a big advocate for working during college. I get a lot of people that are really surprised when I tell them that I am still in college while I'm working, but I truly can't imagine not working during college. So one reason that I think that people should work in college, the job market is super hard right now post-college, but having work experience is definitely gonna boost you up. It's definitely gonna be an advantage. All my time working at Disneyland, my time working at CVS, those are definitely going to help me get a job in the future. Another benefit is I think it makes a person a lot more well-rounded. I think you gain a lot of beneficial skills like communication, just working in a team. You meet a lot of cool people. You can't always learn just sitting in the classroom. You need to go out and apply your skills. And finally, I feel like it really helps you develop your identity. So, when you're in college, you're trying to figure out who you are, what you want to do with your life. Working at different jobs is going to help you figure out what you like, what you don't like, what your strengths and weaknesses are, all that. So these are some of the reasons that I advocate working during college if you can. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I had a job as a production technician for the Film and Media Studies department at UCI. Super chill job. It got my foot in the door. I got to meet people involved in the film and media department. Honestly, I got to do my homework while I was on the clock, so that was pretty great. If you're scared of hours or interviews and stuff like that, there are jobs around that are low stress, especially while you're in college. You can get your foot in the door with those. I also was a Disneyland cast member. I was a CVS intern. I worked at schools a lot. That was the majority of what I did. I babysat. Be proactive with your health journey. Your adult body is not the same as your teenage body, and that was something I had to realize this year and deal with. A major tip that I want everyone to take away, it's not that deep. Do not prioritize tiny things that won't matter in the future over people. I think that's something that a lot of people in college need to learn. They're taking things so seriously and it causes a lot of problems. So my biggest takeaways career-wise, I would say really make sure that you network during college. I just went to the awards ceremony for business yesterday, and in one of their speeches, a professor said his biggest advice to us is focus on your relationships, professional and personal wise. Just try to be friendly and get to know people wherever you go. I also agree with that. I feel like relationships are what make life very valuable, it makes it worth living. My biggest takeaway is socially. So you guys know I struggle with social. I got a lot of social anxieties. I'm an introvert. I know I yap a lot, but I'm an introvert and I struggle a lot. I overthink everything. I'm observing everything. I am way too locked into everyone's emotions. Assume you're wanted at social things. Your presence is a gift. That is something I very much struggle with. I'm always like, they probably don't want me there, I'm not gonna ask, like stuff like that. But it's gonna make you a lot happier if you assume that you are wanted at things. Social things multiply exponentially. Go-to things. So, sometimes I be really down on myself and I'm like, I never get invited to things, like blah, 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 blah. And then I'll go to something, and while I'm there, I'll talk to people and we make future plans. Social stuff definitely multiplies exponentially because you get to talk to people and figure out like maybe things you want to do together in the future. Like I mentioned in my biggest tips and takeaways, investing in relationships is very important. And I think I really spent the time doing that this year. Make plans with people. That's always very helpful if you want to have more friends, get yourself more out there, make plans with people, reach out, get it going. But also, boundaries are okay. Like, you don't have to do everything. You do have to prioritize certain relationships. This year I worked on prioritizing the friendships that I aligned with at the moment. So I try not to get as much FOMO about things that I knew I wouldn't really have enjoyed had I actually been there. Also, I realized it's sad, but not all of your friendships are going to last. That's something that I really struggle with because I want to hold on to all of my friendships. For most people, you're going to end up just taking a few friends from each chapter of your life, like a few from high school, a few from college, so on and so forth. And it's not always the ones you expect. And then in regards to romantic relationships, I think a big thing that you should remember is that relationships are not just about the love itself, but they're also about the active choice to continue working together and choosing each other. My biggest academic tips: money-wise, be strategic with what you take when. Look at the course offerings, figure out what's only offered like certain times of the year. Check on graduation, because it turned out that one of my classes counted for 2 things, so I could have graduated early and I didn't know that. And then a classic thing that I've always done, but I feel like maybe newcomers to college need to know this: use Rate My Professors and stuff to figure out what classes to take. And finally, stay ahead. It really helps when things in life come up. I am always working ahead in my classes, just a little bit at least, because you never know what's gonna happen in life. Maybe you have to pick up a shift, maybe you have a health scare, you never know what's gonna happen, so it's always good to be ahead. Okay, so moving on to where I started the year at. I was the VP of Marketing for my business club. I was a general member of my a cappella group. My preferences were shifting from online to in-person classes. My post-undergrad goal was to get my teaching credentials. I was working at my CVS internship. I was really missing working with kids, so I really wanted to go back. And I was still struggling socially, so I had a lot of social anxieties, I was overthinking, but I was trying to get myself back out there. And I needed to give myself more love. I was giving out too much to other people at this time last year. Now moving on to my academics for the year. Like I said earlier, check on your graduation requirements, because yes, one of my classes counted for 2 things. I didn't know that. I could have graduated early. Use Rate My Professors and stuff to figure out which professors you want to take for which classes. You don't need to make your life harder than it needs to be, and stay ahead with your assignments. Very, very important. So fall quarter, I took Management 126, Management 190, and Management 191W. So Management 126 was about teams. I liked it a lot. I had a great group for the group project. I made new friends too because she fostered that for us. One of our assignments was to just hang out socially because that helps teamwork. Management 190, this one was about like working virtually and digitally, and we had to work with actual companies. So I was lucky enough to work with Amazon for this one. The Amazon liaison was great. He was super sweet. The first 5 weeks were theory, and then the second 5 weeks were actually working with your company and doing the deliverables that they ask of you. I also had a great group for this one. Management 191W is the upper division writing class for business communication. I had a great group for that class. The quarter overall was hard because all of my classes had group work, so I had to juggle like 3 different groups. It was nice though because I had no finals, and I did pretty well with balancing my social life and my relationship. Moving on to winter quarter. Winter quarter is historically rough for me, but this year it actually wasn't terrible. I balanced my academics, friendships, and relationship pretty well. I took Management 128, Management 196, and Education 146. So Management 128 is about international management. Management 196 was about decision making. I was not planning on taking that course at first. I had another one that I was going to be taking, but at the last second I switched to this class just randomly. I had a great group for this class. It was a bit of Excel. It was a bit of just talking about like how people make decisions, so I thought that was super applicable to real life, and it was very cool. And then Education 146, this one was about culture and how it relates to like education and everything, and this was actually really interesting. Because I was wondering like how different cultures affect our classroom management styles, you know, what we praise, what we don't praise, and how that might confuse kids who are raised from different cultures and different backgrounds, you know? So low-key, I should do more research about that. Also, I was able to balance like our a cappella competition season pretty well. And spring quarter, I only needed 1 more class. So I took Education 108, which is adolescent development. I just took it because I needed an elective. It actually ended up being so interesting. It was really valuable and applicable to both myself and to my future when I raise my future kids. So I spent spring quarter working full-time instead of like doing a bunch of classes. Moving on to social. Again, assume you're wanted at things. Your presence is a gift. Social things multiply exponentially, so go to things, especially if you're feeling down about your social life. I really invested time and effort into my social life this year, and I think it went really well. But also having boundaries is okay, like you don't have to do everything, and you do have to prioritize certain relationships. Also, I think some people need to realize that having a history of being flaky will make people stop inviting you to things or having positive expectations for hangs with them. The transition from undergrad to post-grad is weird, and it's a little hard. Like, transitions are always hard, like even quitting Disney, that was super hard. Keep up with your long distance friends. One of my friends started doing this thing where she'll send weekly photo dumps to us, and then we send them back, and that way we can keep up with each other's lives and comment on it and like, you know, just keep in touch. And I think that is such a great idea. I love doing it with my friends, and I'm gonna start doing it with more people probably as people keep graduating and stuff. Make the most of these last few months of undergrad. For sure. Relationships ebb and flow when you guys are at different points of life. That's just something I have to remind myself, because sometimes I'm like, I'm not as close to that person anymore, like I miss them, but sometimes like you just gel better with the people who understand where you're currently at. And sometimes friendships will come back. They ebb and they flow. Be real and authentic. I really, really value honesty and being genuine. I love those traits in people, but also be polite about it. People work differently. Again, it's sad, but not all your friendships are going to last. You'll probably take a few people from each chapter of your life with you, and it's not always the ones you expect. And onto romantic relationships. So my boyfriend and I hit 1 year this year. We also established a new thing where there would be 2 nights a week where we wouldn't sleep over with each other. And I think that was super beneficial for both us and our like friendships and stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, relationships are not just about the love itself, but they are also about the active choice to continue working together and choosing each other. Communication is always key. Always be communicating, and try to approach issues as a team. That's really gonna help you. Extracurriculars. So I made a huge choice over summer 2023, which was to step down from my business club's board. Over the summer, I was a business intern, so a management intern, and it helped me become a lot more clear about what it is that I'm passionate about. So what I'm passionate about is teaching. So I realized I needed to focus on my grad school applications and everything. It was a really tough 2 weeks when I was going back and forth about the decision. You know, I was like, am I just being a weenie? What if these people were gonna become my best friends, like, etc. There was a video though from Lavender that really helped me through this, where she said a quote. She said, use your inner voice to guide you. It won't know the answer, but it'll know whether the current present feels right or doesn't feel right. If you're avoiding life, showing up to anything, that's a sign that you're not meant to be there. So in my business club, after I stepped down from board, I still did serve as a mentor and a big. In my acapella group, I got to do a solo in my last ICCAs ever, which was so fun. I am very grateful for the friendships that I've had from the past 3 years of being in the acapella group. I also received princess treatment because I was the only senior this year. They sang the senior song to me at my last showcase, and they had a video which was so sweet. And I had a full circle moment. I got to sing my audition song as a solo in my last showcase. But yeah, I would not have survived college without my acapella group. So grateful for them and the friendships that I've made from it and the experiences they've given me. I wouldn't have met my boyfriend if I didn't join that acapella group. It's a very large part of my life. It is a little sad that I'm not gonna have it as like a constant space to perform in, but I think I am definitely ready to move forward from it. Like, I feel like that chapter of my life has come to its close. A major takeaway from like extracurriculars is it's not that deep. People take a lot of college extracurriculars way too seriously, way too deep. It creates problems when people take it that seriously. Like, it's just fun, it's just silly, it's just goofy, like it's just a college extracurricular. I think people should focus on just being a good person. And then moving on to career. So last summer, I did my CVS internship. I did a great job at my presentation. My capstone project was on training. I liked making the, what's it called? I forgot what they're called. It was the like makeup setups. When you do retail, you have to like take those down sometimes, wipe down the shelves, move the products because like corporate tells you where they want to put each product in the layout. I found that really fun, especially doing the like displays for the makeup. And then I started the year at Boys and Girls Club. I had 1st and 2nd grade. I had my own classroom for them, so I got to decorate it. And then I moved on to Catalyst Kids. I worked at a lot of the different schools around me, so I got to meet a bunch of the kids at the different sites, and I got to meet different coworkers and supervisors. Ultimately, I did get to switch to full-time at my favorite school. I am their best lesson planner, they said. I ate that up. I loved coming up with fun activities for the kids and seeing them enjoy it. I had them do sight word bingo. I had them do sight word spot it. I had them do math spot it. I had them do math facts battles where they would have to flip cards and at the same time like either add, subtract, or multiply the numbers and yell out first. What else did I do? They loved making, I had them make posters about the desert animal, so they got to practice research skills. Like I said earlier, make sure that you network during college. So miscellaneous, I had to start a health journey in February. I gained a lot of weight abruptly, so I decided to start walking 10,000 steps a day. I started doing some light Pilates, some light dumbbell like training. I'm also trying to eat a little bit better. Definitely be proactive with your health journey. Get ahead with eating right and working out and all that. That'll help you in the long run. I kind of had to accept that your adult body is not going to be the same as your teenage body. And another big miscellaneous thing, make time for family. I got to see my extended paternal family for the first time since 2020. It has been a long time. I should also make more time for my maternal side. I did get to see them though, and I got to spend Christmas with my family for like the first time in a while. So where I am now, it is bittersweet, very sentimental about thinking how this chapter of my life is over. Like, we were never going to get the same college undergraduate experience again. I am now heading into my master's and teaching credential program at UCI. I am super excited to have my own classroom one day. There are a lot of big life changes happening, as I mentioned earlier. My child at home, my singing lessons, my a cappella group. There are a lot of big life changes that I need to process and adjust to. I feel like I am ready for adulthood. I'm excited to live with my boyfriend in the future. I've really been missing working at Disney lately, and I realized that I need to bring the razzle-dazzle back. That's what my Disney coworkers used to call it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you next time. Bye, guys!